warnings and predictions, until one day I encountered my pet dog, who started behaving strangely. It was a little tiny Pekingese named Bailey, who always greeted me with joy and barked at the neighbor's dog. But one day, when I came home late at night from work, I noticed Bailey sitting in a dark corner of the room, growling softly.
I tried to call him to me, but he refused to move and just stared at me with his little eyes.
I approached him closer and realized that his fur was standing on end and his ears were pinned back. A strange feeling of unease washed over me, and I began to scan the room, feeling that something was amiss. And then I heard a scraping sound behind the door to the garden. I reached out to open the door, but Bailey growled and clamped onto my leg. Out of fear and pain, I screamed and pushed him away, but he wouldn't back down. At that moment, I heard heavy breathing and footsteps behind the door. Something malevolent was behind that door, and Bailey could sense the danger. I realized that my dog was trying to protect me from the unforeseen. And then, as the door suddenly swung open, I saw a huge, dark figure. I panicked and ran out into the street, and the dog stayed at home. I didn't dare to return to the house. I called out for Bailey for a long time, but he never came. The lights in the house were turning on by themselves. I was very scared, so I went to my brother's house. The next day, my brother and I went to my house. I searched for my dog all over the house, but when I went down to the basement, I found his collar. Bailey had disappeared. I stood frozen in amazement, standing before the enormous wooden mirror hanging on the wall of the bedroom. My grandmother, the previous owner of the house, always said that this mirror was her most treasured possession. No one had been able to remove it, not even strong men. It was attached so tightly that it seemed to have become part of the wall. I bought this old house after my grandmother passed away. I had been warned about the mirror before purchasing it, but I couldn't imagine that it would evoke such a perplexing mix of horror and curiosity within me. Several days passed, and I tried to get used to the presence of this mirror, but it beckoned me, enchanting me with its reflection. I noticed something unnatural in its reflection. It often seemed like something was moving, but when I turned around, there was nothing there. One night, I woke up to a strange rustling sound. I slowly turned towards the mirror and froze in horror. In its reflection, I saw the silhouette of a woman standing behind me. Her outline was blurry, her face indistinguishable, but I could feel her presence malevolent and suffocating. My heart raced as I turned around, but there was no one there. The mirror only showed my ordinary bedroom. I trembled, unable to believe my eyes. I pressed on the mirror, trying to open it, but it didn't budge even a millimeter. With each passing night, I noticed that the reflection in the mirror became increasingly eerie. The woman's spirit started appearing more frequently, seeking my attention, screaming, gnashing her teeth, even touching me in my dreams. I no longer slept at night, afraid to see her again. I diligently searched for answers to my questions. I discovered that the mirror was a specially crafted anomaly, a trapped ghost within its glass. My grandmother knew about it, but she never warned me. I decided that I had to free the spirit. I studied rituals and read about methods of exorcism. One night, when everything in the house fell silent, I stood in front of the mirror and began reciting prayers. After uttering the final word of the prayer, the mirror started shaking and emitting an unnatural glow. Suddenly, the glass shattered into pieces, and the spirit's essence burst out, disappearing into thin air. The oppressive tension that had held me captive vanished, but along with it, the sense of safety in that house also disappeared. Since then, every night, I hear whispers behind me and feel the chilling touch knowing that the woman's spirit did not return to the mirror, but stayed in that house, thirsting for my soul. I had never been particularly fond of dolls. They were just ordinary toys to me. But when I saw this old doll at the antique fair, something stirred inside me. I couldn't tear my eyes away from this doll. Its eyes seemed so alive, as if it was watching me. I started questioning the seller about the origin of this doll. He told me that it belonged to a girl named Elizabeth, who had died in this house many years ago. The doll was her main toy and accompanied her everywhere. The seller said that the doll had been slightly damaged over time, but it could be restored. Its hair was already in tufts. A few days later, I received a letter from the antique fair. It turned out that the doll Elizabeth had been sold to a new family. I hoped that the new owners would find peace and solace with this enigmatic doll, while Lily and I left this nightmare behind and moved forward, rid of our old fears.